Most people think self-control is something you either have or you don't. They believe it's a personality trait, a strength some people are born with, and something others simply lack. That belief alone keeps millions of people trapped. Because when you believe self-control is gone forever, you stop trying to rebuild it. But psychologically, self-control is not a trait. It is a system, and systems can be repaired. If you've lost control over your habits, your focus, your impulses, it didn't happen overnight, and it will not return overnight either, but it can return. The mistake most people make is trying to regain control using the same mindset that caused its collapse. They rely on force. They tell themselves, "I'll be stricter. I'll push harder. I'll just stop." That approach almost always fails. Not because the person is weak, but because the brain does not respond to force when it is already dysregulated. To understand how to regain self-control, you must first understand why it was lost. Self-control collapses when the brain becomes overstimulated and underregulated. This happens when pleasure is frequent, immediate, and effortless. The brain adapts to this environment by lowering its tolerance for delay. It begins to expect reward now, not later. Over time, the part of the brain responsible for impulse regulation weakens its influence. Decision-making becomes reactive. You don't choose actions. You respond to urges. At this stage, willpower alone is ineffective. Trying to push through impulses only increases internal resistance. That resistance creates fatigue. Fatigue creates relapse. This is why many people feel stuck in cycles of motivation and failure. The solution is not more intensity. The solution is reestablishing control gradually at the level of the nervous system. Regaining self-control begins with one crucial shift. You stop fighting impulses and start containing them. Containment is different from suppression. Suppression denies the impulse and tries to eliminate it. Containment allows the impulse to exist without immediate action. This single distinction changes everything. When you delay action even briefly, seconds, not hours, you weaken the impulse action loop. The brain begins to relearn that urges do not equal commands. This is the foundation of recovery. The first phase of regaining self-control is stabilization. Before discipline, before goals, before routines, the nervous system must stabilize. If your mind is constantly restless, anxious, or overstimulated, cannot support restraint. This is why recovery does not start with big promises. It starts with reducing volatility. You reduce volatility by limiting extreme stimulation, not eliminating pleasure entirely, but removing excess, shorter exposure, fewer triggers, less novelty. This calms the reward system. As stimulation decreases, discomfort increases. This discomfort is not failure. It is recalibration. Most people misinterpret this phase and quit. They assume discomfort means something is wrong. In reality, it means something is healing. The brain is adjusting its baseline. The second phase is predictability. Self-control strengthens when the brain trusts the environment. Chaos weakens restraint. Predictability supports it. You regain control not by demanding discipline, but by creating conditions where discipline is easier than indulgence. This means simplifying choices, eating similar meals, sleeping at consistent times, reducing decision overload. Every unnecessary decision drains control. Predictability conserves it. The third phase is small authority wins. This is critical. You do not rebuild self-control by tackling your biggest weakness first. You rebuild it by winning small, non-negotiable commitments. Tiny actions completed consistently restore self-trust. Self-trust is the real currency of control. When you follow through even on small things, the mind relearns that intention leads to action. This begins to reverse learned helplessness. Gradually, confidence returns, not emotional confidence, but functional confidence. The kind that says, "When I decide something, it happens." Another key element is environmental control. Self-control is not just internal. It is deeply influenced by surroundings. If temptation is constantly visible, restraint requires constant effort. Effort exhausts control. This is why redesigning the environment is not weakness. It is intelligence. Removing triggers is not avoidance. It is strategy. The fourth phase is impulse observation. You train the mind to notice urges as events, not instructions. This creates psychological distance. Distance weakens compulsion. You begin to see impulses rise, peak, and fall. This teaches the brain an important lesson. Urgency is temporary. Every time you allow an urge to pass without action, you strengthen regulation pathways. This is neuroplasticity in action. The brain rewires through repetition, not intention. Another important factor is energy restoration. Low energy amplifies impulsivity. Sleep deprivation, poor nutrition, chronic stress all reduce control capacity. Self-control cannot exist in a depleted system. This is not moral weakness. It is biological reality. Rest is not indulgence. It is repair. One of the most overlooked steps in regaining control is self-forgiveness. Not emotional forgiveness, functional forgiveness. When people shame themselves for losing control, they increase stress. Stress increases impulsivity. This creates a loop. Breaking the loop requires neutrality. You observe failures without dramatizing them. You correct without condemning. This allows progress without collapse. As control begins to return, a new danger appears: overconfidence. People attempt to accelerate recovery too quickly. They add too many restrictions, too many rules. This backfires. Control strengthens gradually. It thrives under sustainability, not extremity. The final phase is identity reinforcement. You stop seeing self-control as something you do. You see it as something you practice. Identity shapes behavior more than motivation. You become someone who pauses, someone who chooses deliberately. This identity solidifies through consistent behavior, not affirmations. Over time, restraint feels less like effort and more like alignment. You are no longer resisting yourself. You are cooperating with yourself. This is the moment self-control stops feeling fragile, because it is no longer built on force. It is built on understanding, and understanding is durable. As self-control slowly begins to return, something unexpected happens inside the mind. You begin to notice silence, not external silence, but internal pauses, moments where the urge still appears, but no longer demands immediate obedience. At first, these pauses feel unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable. The mind has lived so long in reaction mode that stillness feels unnatural. Many people mistake this stage for emptiness. They think something is missing. In reality, something has finally stopped overwhelming them. This is the stage where self-control shifts from effort to awareness. And awareness changes the entire equation. Because once you can observe an impulse without acting on it, the impulse loses its authority. It no longer feels like a command. It feels like information. This distinction matters. Commands demand action. Information allows choice. The human brain is not designed to eliminate desire. It is designed to rank it. When self-control is lost, desire rises to the top of the hierarchy. Everything else becomes secondary. Focus weakens. Values fade. Long-term thinking collapses. Regaining control is not about killing desire. It is about restoring the hierarchy. Desire returns to its place, below intention, not above it. This is why people who regain control often describe a feeling of internal order. Not excitement, not motivation, order. The mind begins to feel organized again. Thoughts stop colliding. Decisions stop feeling heavy. This order creates a subtle but powerful psychological shift. You stop negotiating with yourself. Negotiation is a sign of weak authority. When the mind argues with itself, it means no clear leader exists inside. As control strengthens, internal dialogue becomes quieter. Decisions become simpler. You decide and move. Another important change occurs during this phase. Your relationship with discomfort changes. Earlier, discomfort felt urgent. It demanded relief. Now, discomfort becomes tolerable. Not pleasant, but manageable. This tolerance is the backbone of self-control. Because every meaningful action requires some form of discomfort. Learning, waiting, resisting distraction, staying present. Without tolerance, none of these are possible. This is why people who regain control often feel mentally stronger even before their lives change externally. Strength is not the absence of difficulty. It is the ability to stay present during it. As tolerance increases, impulsive behavior naturally declines. Not because you are forcing it, but because urgency has lost its power. The brain begins to understand that waiting does not equal danger. This rewiring happens slowly, but it is permanent. Neuroscience shows that when impulses are consistently delayed, the reward circuitry adapts. Dopamine responses stabilize. Baseline satisfaction rises. Life feels less frantic. This is why people recovering self-control often report feeling calmer without knowing why. Nothing dramatic has changed, but internally, balance is returning. Another critical shift happens in how you experience time. Earlier, time felt rushed, always moving, always slipping. Now, moments feel fuller. You are more present. Not because you are trying to be mindful, but because your attention is no longer hijacked every few seconds. This presence deepens experience. Simple actions feel more real. Conversations feel more grounded. Silence feels less threatening. This is not spirituality. This is psychology. Attention, when uninterrupted, naturally stabilizes the mind. Self-control protects attention, and attention protects sanity. As control strengthens, you may notice resistance from the outside world. People are accustomed to predictable reactions. When you stop reacting immediately, dynamics change. Some people may test you. Others may feel uncomfortable. This is normal. Regaining control alters how you show up. You speak less impulsively. You explain less. You react less. This quiet shift is often interpreted as confidence, not arrogance. Confidence rooted in internal stability. And this stability is contagious. People respond differently to those who are not easily pulled by emotion or urgency. They sense boundaries even when none are spoken. This is where self-control begins to influence social reality, not through dominance, through presence. But this stage also carries a risk. The mind may try to reclaim old habits during moments of fatigue. Control weakens when energy drops. This is why recovery is not linear. There will be moments of regression. These moments do not erase progress. They reveal weak points. The correct response is not punishment. It is adjustment, better rest, fewer commitments, reduced stimulation. Self-control thrives in a supported system, not a harsh one. Over time, something subtle but profound happens. You stop seeing self-control as resistance. It starts to feel like alignment. You are no longer fighting yourself. You are cooperating with yourself. This is the true sign of recovery. When effort decreases, but consistency increases. When discipline no longer feels heroic, just natural. At this stage, identity begins to solidify. You no longer think, "I'm trying to regain control." You think, "This is how I live." And that identity reinforces behavior automatically. This is how self-control becomes stable, not through constant vigilance, through internal agreement. The mind trusts itself again, and trust reduces anxiety. When you trust your responses, you stop scanning for threats. You stop overthinking. You stop anticipating regret. Life becomes quieter, not because problems disappear, but because your reactions are no longer chaotic. This quiet is often mistaken for boredom by those addicted to stimulation. But it is not boredom. It is clarity, and clarity is rare. As clarity grows, goals become clearer, not because motivation spikes, but because distractions fade. You can finally hear what matters. This is where long-term direction begins, not from ambition, from calm. Regaining self-control does not end with perfection. It ends with clarity. The clarity to see impulses without panic. The clarity to pause without fear. The clarity to choose without force. This is what most people misunderstand. Self-control is not about never falling back. It is about recovering faster when you do. Earlier, one mistake could pull you into days of loss. Now, a mistake becomes information. You notice it, you adjust, and you return to balance. That is control. When the mind learns that urgency is temporary, it stops rushing you. When it learns that discomfort will not destroy you, it stops screaming for escape. And when it learns that you will listen but not obey blindly, it stops rebelling. This is how authority returns, quietly, without drama, without pressure. You no longer need to fight your impulses because they no longer feel like enemies. They feel like signals, and signals can be observed. Over time, something important changes. You stop asking, "Can I control myself?" and start knowing, "I will respond when I decide." That shift alone changes how you walk, how you speak, how you wait, and how you choose. Life stops feeling reactive, not because it becomes easier, but because you become steadier. And steadiness is power, not the loud kind, not the visible kind, the kind that does not need to prove itself. If you've listened this far, understand this. Losing control did not mean you were broken. It meant the system was overloaded. And rebuilding control does not require force. It requires patience, awareness, and consistency. The mind does not need punishment. It needs leadership. And leadership begins the moment you stop reacting and start choosing again.